Warning, this podcast has stories of real-life events and true crime that happens every day. These stories may contain adult language and graphic or disturbing details not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised.
132 in Bush, I've got him at gunpoint. Check the left phone for full evacuation at this time.
They're pulling them out.
10-1-1, advise ready for entrance camp.
God!
Welcome to another episode of War Stories. I'm Chuck, and Tom can't be here today. It's his birthday, so everybody wish him a happy birthday. I know this is going to come out a few weeks late, but hey, late birthday is better than no birthday wishes, right? So he can't be here today, but we have Sean, who is a reoccurring guest. Sean came on a little bit ago, about a year ago, almost the exact time frame, and talked about his book that he had, his previous book that he had, and now he has a new book, and he is here to talk about that. Go through some stories. Sean, how are you?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for having me back on, Chuck.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming back on. It's great. And I remember we were talking a long time ago. You're like, yeah, I'll come back on. And we're kind of shooting the time frame. And I think it kind of got pushed a little bit. But yeah, I'm so glad you came back on. I was thinking about it. I was like, man, we really got to get this guy back on because I know he has another book coming out.
Yeah. The second book launched June 6th, actually. So it was actually my bad. I was just a little bit behind on even getting on podcasts and trying to get information out there. So
yeah, and that new book is called Cabal.
Yeah, Cabal, the second installment in the Dane Cooper series.
Hell yeah. Can you give the listeners a little bit what it's about?
Sure. So really what I like to do, especially a lot of these book signings and book fairs, I talk more about Jones Point because I can't give too much away in Cabal because if you haven't read Jones Point, I wrote it. So basically, Jones Point, special operations soldier whose daughter's kidnapped while he's overseas, comes home. He's recruited by a mysterious cabal of parents with all different skills, and they decide to hunt and punish child predators. So we go into Cabal. It's kind of the story is blending in from Jones Point, but the key takeaway here is there's some mysterious deaths among the Cabal members, and the hunters find themselves becoming the hunted.
Oh, you know what? That jogs my memory when you were talking about it. And now, wow, that sounds really cool. That sounds like it's going to be an awesome book. It almost sounds like Sound of Freedom on steroids and a little bit more operator-esque.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that too, because people have mentioned that to me before, even when Jones Point was coming out. And I was like, hang on a minute. I'm not taking anything away from Sound of Freedom. I was working on this 2 years before. Great stories.
Wow.
And stories can mimic one another and be similar in nature. But that's one thing. That's another reason why I don't know if you remember when I first pushed Jones Point out, I actually self-published. It's actually a whole different color than it was now because I was racing because all these stories were coming out. And I'm like, I've been working on this for 3 years. So I actually originally published in November of 23, trying to get this thing out. And then a publisher picked me up, pulled the book, made a second edition cover, and relaunched it in April of 24.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's so many of those stories that are coming out, and it's just. But here's the thing: they're all unique because it happens every single day, and it's not something that's going away. It's something that's an epidemic, in our country and all over the world. I mean, oh man, pedos are fucking everywhere, and we just had a guy who was on, who works in ICAC, and he's it's Crimes Against Children. He's a detective for that. And the funny thing is that he works with like a federal team and stuff like that. And he actually worked the guy from Sound of Freedom, that federal agent is actually was part of that team that he is currently on. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And so I kind of got like a glimpse into that. And now you have a book like that. But here's the thing, they're all totally different. And this one, damn, I mean, it's more like more operator-esque, I think, and I think that will be pretty awesome.
It is too, and I do want to say it's not fully operator though. I want to keep that in mind because the club has people, logisticians, lawyers. Right. I've got a recruiter, right? I mean, how do you get people? I've got scouts. So everybody, they play their part. I do kind of make it like the special ops community is that shooter on the ground gets all the credit, but there's 12, 15 people behind him that made that happen. So that's how I kind of wrote this book, is how these vigilantes are all playing their part.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I can't wait to read it. I mean, it sounds really cool. I mean, man, if you could get it picked up by Angel Studios and make a movie, that'd be pretty cool. They're coming up. They're up and coming.
They are, but you have to come to them with a lot of upfront money. You got to come with back. I'm not saying it's impossible to do, but I did look into it just out of curiosity.
Mhm.
Yeah, you really have to come with everything done, written, kind of pretty much, someone who's going to front the bill for it up front.
Oh, wow,
So,
really?
yeah, at least that's what I could be wrong. That's kind of the nascent research I did. I went, okay, let me get these books off the ground first, and then we'll worry about that later.
Right. I mean, look at the guy who wrote The Terminal List. I mean,
yeah, Jack Carr. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually talked with him. He and I did a phone call in 23.
wow.
To a friend of a friend. I just asked him because really when I was breaking into the book business, getting on podcasts, I'm still like technically on his wait list, but I get it, the man's busy. But we did have a good 20-30 minute conversation of kind of coming from the military community and the communities we come from is kind of coming out in the world and saying, hey, navigating what you can talk about, what you can't talk about, where you draw your hard lines, where people will make inferences and you just can't do anything about it, right? Or people will say stuff online, the little keyboard warriors, and I bet you that guy did this and this, and you're like, Jesus, come on, dude. But interesting cat. I'm glad he's doing well.
That's really cool. I mean, that's kind of it's got to be like a bucket list check off right there.
Yeah. I mean, that you'd be surprised. I've met more people doing all this that they are way more down to earth than we think when it comes to famous people, musicians, even uber wealthy. They're just the same. They really are. Anything you see in the entertainment world is just that. It's entertainment. It's an act. It's right. They're dancing to make us laugh. That's it.
Right. Yeah. They're like that court jester back in the day.
There you go.
That's your job,
right? You had the most power.
Right. That's crazy because I've met a few famous people, and the majority of I've only met one who's like, do you know who I am? I was like, no, bro. I don't, man. He's like, what, you don't watch Real Housewives of the OC? And I was like, no, not one bit, man. He goes, ask any female here and they'll know who I am. And I was like, all right, bet. And so I did. And they're like, I know him. Yeah. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, he's in the front lobby right now being a dickhead. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they all go and watch on the cameras. And then he ended up being a really cool guy after he was, I kind of checked him a little bit. And I was like, dude, I don't know who you are. You're not special. And plus I don't watch that horse shit anyways. And, and then I kind of checked it out afterwards because we started talking and he was just like a regular dude and he likes guns and he likes shooting and he has like trucks and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like that stuff too. Yeah. And we honestly we had a conversation for like an hour and a half after, like he just sat there and just shot the shit with me. And I was like, this guy actually turned out to be pretty cool once we handled his situation. And I was like, damn, man, just a regular down to earth dude.
Yeah, most of them are. I had something similar with a musician talking about some collaboration in the future. Nice guy. And he wasn't even put up a front, but I was like, I'm going to make sure to nip this right in the bud. I was actually at his house, shook hands, this and that. I looked around and I was like, man, you better cut your damn grass. The HOA is going to get on you. I don't care if you're famous or not. You better either get out there and mow or hire somebody. Let's just shit. You could have put my balls. I've been on tour. Well, then you get somebody to do it. You can obviously afford it. But really, that grass looks like crap.
Yeah, come on, you lazy slap. That's awesome. Yeah, that's got I've met a few like that. Post Malone was probably one of the coolest dudes ever, and just regular people. And I think a lot of people forget that, and it's just it's fun. It's fun talking to those type of people because you just realize how normal they are. I mean, not all. I mean, there's some weirdos out there for sure, but most of them are pretty normal. So as your book's coming out and all that stuff, I know you work full time. How's that going?
Yeah, we kind of talked about that a little bit, kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are like, well, you're with the Defense Science Board. I'm like, kind of. So I technically am still in the billet. But so when the first round of buyouts came out in April, my wife and I talked about it. I was like, oh, this is really weird. This is unprecedented in the U.S. government, whatever. My job's secure. I'm good. About 2-3 weeks later, they offered that second one. They were like 7 days only. Now, those preceding 3 weeks, I've been walking around the Pentagon, man, with a bag of popcorn, watching everybody freaking out because I'm like, whatever. If I lose my job, I'll go get another one. I'm not that concerned. But I mean, people were losing their minds. So when they offered this the second time for 5 months to put me on administrative leave and keep my paycheck, we debated about one night and then just said, do it. Right. Do it so I can put all my energy into this. I can put all my energy into the books. I can put all my energy into other projects and say, hey, not only can I do that, I can do it 5 months as a non-starving artist, right? My mortgage is still being paid. There's gas in my pontoon boat. There's food on the table. So it was kind of one of those
Priorities.
who gets that kind of opportunity, right? So I've already used up 2 months of it. It's going great. I'm not getting nervous yet, but it's one of those that I think I would have kicked myself if I didn't take it. So as of September 30th, I will be no longer. I will take it off my LinkedIn and my little things that I'm the former senior advisor to the board. But no, and funny enough, 2 weeks after I did it, they eliminated all the boards. So excuse me, they didn't necessarily eliminate my position.
Yeah.
But I had no work. I had no job. I had no nothing. So then it's that.
Right.
So even right now, anything with FACA boards is in limbo. So those feds are all like looking for jobs because they don't know where they're going to go. If they're going to be reinstated or not.
Yeah, and let me tell you, because I retired medically, and I'm in the job market now. Even though I'm collecting a little bit, from my medical pension, it ain't all it's cracked up to be. You know what I mean? When you leave, but you got a little bit, but it's you still got to find something else. So trying to find something else has been so difficult. And I'm kind of like you. I'm putting all my energy and effort into. Not a book, because I don't think I'm smart enough to write a book, unless I was working with someone way smarter than me, but smart enough to go to get a business degree and a master's. So I'm doing that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do everything. I'm almost done. I think February of next year is when I'm done. And so I'm like, okay, cool. But I'm trying to go into the defense sector or aerospace.
I'm trying to avoid that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It is just volatile right now. I mean, contractors are losing things. I mean, it is just a nightmare over there. I don't know. I'm not, and again, by the way, I'm not just going to debate the merits, pros, and for. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about smaller government, and I think there's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. But I just think there should be more scalpel, less axe. But I understand. It's one of those. I get what they're doing. But man, I really because this year's only year one. Year two, next year is when the cuts start big again.
Right.
Yeah. They're doing a reshuffling this year to see how everything, if they restructured correctly and this and that, and do we downsize enough? And then they're going to go all in again next year. Yeah,
because that's like the government or contractors, they overhire by like 110% or even sometimes a little bit more just to make sure that they fill everything and see who they want, and then they downsize like crazy. And I constantly influx of people going in and out, especially in the defense side, because my wife works in the defense sector. So I see all that, and all my family is there, and I'm like, damn, dude, like this sounds really cool, but it scares the crap out of me because you never know. You could get hired, and then a year later, they're like, we don't need you anymore.
I think those days are over. I really do. I personally think this is going to be a restructure of the entire Department of Defense. So I am going to be looking at Home Depot or Lowe's, whoever can give me a better offer as a greeter, because I don't know much about tools. So I'll have to memorize where stuff is in the aisles. That's about all I'm good at.
Yeah, I mean, privatized prisons are coming back too. They're getting a lot of government contracts, but that's kind of scary too, because they're a private company, kind of like defense side or aerospace, where now they're getting a contract and they're only good for that contract. And when that contract runs out, what happens? And in 3.5 years, when we had a new president, those contracts might be gone. You know what I mean? Especially if you're working on an ICE contract. I just turned down a position for that because they don't pay anything. They pay like $25 an hour.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, Home Depot, Costco. I heard Costco pays really well. It's got good benefits.
You know what I heard? Do you have a In-N-Out where you live?
No, we're five guys over here. In-N-Out's out there. You guys on the West Coast. We're five guys out here.
Apparently,
I know they're coming your way.
Yeah, well, they're expanding everywhere. I mean, they're getting big quick, but they pay really good. Their managers make over 6 figures.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, see, you don't have to go in the defense industry business. I've been doing it too long, man. Almost 25 plus in the Army, and 2 years as a contractor, and now almost 2 years as a Fed. I've sucked off the government tit long enough. It's time to get out.
You're right.
They use somebody else.
Now, since we had you on last time, you told a couple stories about your time in the military. Well, I'd like to go back to that.
Sure.
you did some pretty cool stuff, and I know last time you're like, oh, what can I share? What can I share? So you've had a little bit to think about it. What can you share now?
Well, I think what I obviously can share is my Ranger years. We talked about that. I was
Right.
there almost 11 years, several deployments, and then later working up here in the DC area for a SOCOM unit. I can talk about kind of what we did. I just can't
Yeah.
get the specifics like locations or what. But I mean, a lot of what we did, is still classified work, but people still knew where I was. And what I was doing. So I mean, we were just like everybody else, the war on terrorism. We were hunting, the find fix portion. We were trying to find these assholes all around the world, trying to stop the problems before they became problems.
Right, especially during the WMD time. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that was not my ballywick. That was your boys down at the beach and Bragg and that. If I got any inclinations or rumblings hearing about that, I pass that off to them. That's not my gig.
Right.
I don't want to be like Lethal Weapon. Which wire do I cut? That's not my job. I didn't learn that.
You're the boogeyman hunter. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Go in
That
and
was
get the
kind
bad
of
guys.
try to piece everything together and then either charter to take care of it ourselves, but that's very unrealistic. A lot of times is then tell the teams where they're at or tell the teams where they need to go or say, hey, this is what's going on. Here's the next problem.
Right.
Bring more people. We need to look at this. Or hey, that problem is not what we thought it was.
Right.
Let it go. Keep an eye on it, but let it go. It's not developed enough to bother.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe you can talk about this then. All this stuff that's happening with Iran, Israel, and all that kind of craziness, and Iran being like, all right, sleeper cells are activated. How many sleeper cells do you think are in the United States right now?
It's hard to put an actual number, but I would not be surprised if it is a larger amount than we think, especially in the last 3-4 years of just straight up open borders, walk right in, say whatever fake name you want to give them, and whoever fake house you're going to and disappear. Now, that being said, the effectiveness of them, I believe, is a little different. So I don't think there's a bunch of Iranians living in the house across the street with high-powered weapons and explosives, right? Getting a body in here is one thing. Getting explosives, getting weapons, getting anything in this country illegally, let alone being illegal yourself, makes it double hard. I mean, if I wanted to go buy a gun right now in the streets, an unregistered pistol, I have no idea how to do it, right? But I kind of have the protections of being a citizen. I can probably figure it out.
Yeah.
Now I'm like literally on the run from the government and I'm trying to procure illegal stuff. It's almost like a double, and I'm not trying to insinuate that they're stupid to do it. I'm simply saying is they're in a different position of having to worry about their own status, their own feeding themselves. And then now, if there is a powerful entity that is feeding money into here, well, then I could see it happening. But then I flip back to and go, what the hell's all our cyber divisions and all our our U.S. Secretary of Finance, all that stuff? Why aren't we catching wire transfers coming in from illegal nations? I mean, it's a digital world. We should be able to do that, I would assume. So
right.
I think it's a bigger boogeyman, but it is still a boogeyman.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm kind of worried about like everything. I've listened to other podcasts and stuff like that, and with all the open borders, like you said, and people coming in illegally, and then smuggling in weapons. You're saying it's a little bit harder to do all that, and it makes it double hard to come in, not just smuggling yourself, but now smuggling like big weapons and stuff like that in. I mean, I know it does happen. What are your thoughts on like bad shit being here, like shoulder fired, rocket systems or missile systems?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's here. I don't think you're going to see your big spectacular explosions and 50 dudes running in with AKs. I think you're going to see what they've been doing all along. They're going to acquire a car and drive through a parade. They're going to, kill a few people here or there, or make a small homemade bomb out of a couple of chemicals they bought at a hardware store. I just don't see a mass. Unless I'm missing something in our security apparatus, I don't see a mass attack capable yet.
Right.
Again, I've been out for 4 years, man. So my intel is weak sauce. I'll put that out right now. I could be,
that's okay.
I could be totally off the grid on this one.
Well, that should make some people feel safer, at home. I mean, recently there was just a terror attack, where they attacked the infrastructure through Spectrum cables and those that link into like military bases and law enforcement, first response, and things like that. And they took out, oh man, so many of the fiber optic cables, which kind of, did a big number on like the communication aspect of it. But I swear we're getting outages all the time, and like they get put back up so fast. I mean,
Yeah, now that threat I still think is going to be an external player. I think that's going to be your China, your Russia. I've got a lot of friends we've discussed, which it also goes back down to what we're even told as the American public. I say this: remember that ship that crashed? What was that bridge out in Maryland? Remember?
right. I don't remember the bridge, but I know what you're talking
Exactly.
about.
I don't remember if it was out of the news. It's gone.
Mhm.
We never got the official report. It lost power but turned back on. But do you ever notice
Right.
that? Gone. It's gone.
Yeah, it's
Boom.
weird.
I heard one story about 3 weeks ago about money funding to rebuild it. Then I also heard from other friends, conspiracies, some of them, and not necessarily wrong, is what that port was actually used for. It was actually used heavily for our home defense. So, shipment of goods through there. So,
Mm.
you sit there and go, are we even being told everything? Do we even have a
Right.
real figure on how many people crossed in? Are those numbers even real? We see those charts, whether it be Republicans saying there's a ton or Democrats saying there's not as much, right? They're going to argue. It doesn't matter. What's
Mhm.
the real number? I don't think we know.
Right. And we know the answer. We're not being told everything for sure. I mean, operational security, why would they tell us? Like why are we special enough to know, I mean, we're the American people and we should know what's going on in our home soil, but it's like a need to know basis. You know what I mean? Of course, we're not going to be told everything. I think we should know if something like that, like, it's my tinfoil hat getting put on. But if there is an attack that happens like that, where, foreign nationals come in and they are specifically targeting a bridge that does, either weapons transportation or, Department of Defense transportation or whatever that sector may be, and they try to take it out to try to, stop that. I mean, I think we should know about that type of stuff, unless, I don't know.
Yeah, and again, I'm not wearing my tinfoil. I'm not saying it definitely happened that way. I look at a lot of these world events maybe through a different lens. And I also
Sure.
think I was attacking and I was doing something against my enemy. What would I do? What would I do sabotage wise against, if I wanted to, if I could, right? I couldn't even go into China and do this anyway. But if I wanted, what would I do? What would I attack? What would I sever?
It's funny that you say that, because I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, what would I do if I was going to do that? And, because I try to look at the news sometimes through that lens, like, I wonder if this natural disaster over there is tied to like a weapon, right? Because we all know that we can manipulate weather. I mean, that patent's been around for forever, and it's only gotten bigger and better, right?
Oh.
I mean, back in the day when the first technology got developed, they flooded a whole town. They couldn't stop the rain. The weather manipulation, and now they're seeding clouds, and it's known, and they do it up in the Colorado mountains and in Utah to feed the Colorado River, to help farmers and things like that, and they weather seed to create weather. Well, why can't they do that on a weapon scale? Flood a whole city, flood a whole country, and just hammer it with whatever that technology is. And that's what I was trying to think. And then I saw China and they got flooded with like a bunch of craziness. I'm like, I wonder if that was us.
Well, and I think something like a China, Russia, and us, being kind of like the last superpowers, what also is one, which has given us so much protection over the years, right? The two huge oceans.
Sure.
Number two is just even the size of us. I mean, the disbursement of the population. It's very hard, right? You take out a network here, but this network's still up here. And then, like you said, a lot of stuff comes back up fast because they can patch. So pretty hard to take down the whole damn thing. Do I think it's possible? Yes, but pretty hard to do it. I also think it's if you really want to stop someone, you've got to break the will of the people and the will of the military. You've got to make the people not want to fight. You've got to make people not want to go overseas and fight. So that's how I've always looked at things, is how do you, and you've got to stop them from getting there. That means logistics. Everything is logistics. right? You read all your great philosophers of war. What do they say? What is it? The phrase? Amateurs talk about tactics. Professionals talk about logistics when it comes to war, right? Because that's what it's all about. Troops and fuel and munitions moving and food, right? So that's I think that we've definitely got some problems we need to face in the future. I definitely think we've got some vulnerabilities, but I think we've got some positives going for us as well. So
sure,
I like seeing the change in the recruiting of the military trend. It seems to be, if I'm hearing the correct things, again, it's media, so I never know, but it sounds like the numbers are trending positively, which is good.
And that's what Hegseth said. I mean, he said we haven't seen numbers like this in years. And I can agree with that, because I saw all the military recruitment ads and I was thinking to myself, if I was in high school, because that's who they're targeting realistically. They're targeting kids in their senior year, junior year in high school, who want to go in the military, and I saw what they were doing during Biden's military, and I was just like, dude, I'm not impressed. I mean, this is kind of weird. You've got a general wearing a dog face that's like leather and it's like BDSM bullshit. And I'm like, that doesn't belong in the military. It's weird. Like, it's creepy. And then you look at Hegseth's military and Trump's military, and now, and look, it doesn't mean I'm a Trump supporter, but I am definitely for what he's doing right now with Hegseth and the military and the patriotism and all that stuff. And Hegseth's military, Pete Hegseth is out there doing PT with these guys, and I'm like, holy shit, hell yeah, that's badass. Yeah. I would love that. That gave me a hard on.
Like, what a publicity stunt. I'm like, okay, first of all, publicity, fine. Stunt. No, it shows that the leader of the military underneath the president can walk the walk and talk the talk. Yeah. He's out there doing push-ups and runs. And I don't have some 90-year-old fat old man who can barely get out of his recliner talking about the good old days during the Korean War. No, I've got modern fighter, modern thinker. His rank, crap. He was in, he's done it, he's walked the walk, he's been on the same ground. And again, he's going to put good advisors around him. He's going to listen to people.
Exactly. And I don't even know what his rank was when in the military, but it doesn't matter, because everything I know about leadership, and, I know a decent amount now about leadership just through my time and, being alive and, being in the military, being in law enforcement, being in college and learning all this stuff. He's doing it appropriately and right. He's leading from the front. He's not in the rear with the gear. You know what I mean? He's in the front leading these people. And I mean, that gives me a sense of joy. It gives me a sense of purpose. It just, I don't know, it gives me goosebumps when I was watching some of those videos. I'm like, dude, I wish I was in the military right fucking now, because it just, the pride of the military is probably some of its highest it's ever been, probably since, like, I don't know, when we were going to war with Iraq, and everyone was like, I want to go to the military, I want to fight for my country, blah blah blah, all that stuff, like, which is hardcore stuff.
Well, and me too. I'm with you. I'm neither side. I'm not a very political person. I mean, I lean certain ways on certain things and lean hard on other things. I always tell people I'm fiscally conservative. I'm socially a liberal, but I like to see. I like to see it coalesce around the current SecDef. I like what I'm seeing in front. Now, everybody who's screaming it's the wrong path. Okay, well, you could be right. It could turn out 2-3 years down the road, not having all this does hurt us. But we've been doing it this way for so long, and it certainly hasn't worked. So can we try something else? I mean,
absolutely. Why not?
Why not? Why not? So I'm excited to see the changes. I mean, when I was getting out, I got out right at the beginning of the last administration, and I was so disappointed at that point. And it's amazing in there. And again, I'm not going to bash presidents, because that's not what I'm here to do. But it is amazing. I've been in the military since 96. So it's so funny to see operational tempo and what we can and can't do overseas based on who's sitting in that office. Missions authorized. That same mission is not authorized. This is authorized. That's not. I mean, it is crazy. It is, especially in the special operations community, because some pretty precise kind of high end hits of what is allowed and not allowed under who. Nope, never mind. Not send a drone, put in a bomb, or no, go. Here's 52 of them. Here's a plain deck of cards. Go get them. Right? Total differences, day and night.
Right. Yeah. I mean, man, and you really feel it when you're in the military. Because I enlisted under under Bush, and then Obama came in, right? and you felt that shift. You
Oh, yeah.
felt it. It was like it was thick in the air, and you felt it. And you're just like, oh, this doesn't. And you know, I was an impressionable young man. I was a Democrat, dude. I was listed as a Democrat because I didn't know what Democrat or Republican meant, because no one sat down to really talk to me about it. And they're like, you need to vote this way. And I was like, well, I don't know what to vote. Like, I don't, like, what he's saying sounds good, but what he's saying also sounds good, but different points of views, you know? So I didn't really know. And I ended up not voting because I had no idea how to vote absentee and all that. That's just besides the point. I just didn't vote. And then you see this shift happen. And I was like, dude, what happened? It was like overnight, and all the deployments started getting canceled. And then it started affecting me. And I was like, this is bullshit. And the next thing I know, we start facing government shutdowns. And I'm like, what is going on? Dude, this commander in chief is batshit crazy. And it was just, you felt it. And it just, it really affected, I think, the military at when that started happening, because they were just losing all sense of, like, I don't know, not honor, but like leadership.
Their identity.
There was no one to look up to. You're like, who the fuck are we doing?
Well, that's what was happening. Retention. It wasn't necessarily recruitment numbers; it was retention numbers. That's what it was crushing. Did I tell you the story about me voting in basic training?
No.
Send it. So I was in '96. Was at, you know, you go to the what is it, the HQ before, when you get all your uniforms and all your stuff before you go down range to your actual whatever your barracks going to be for basic training. So I was at, you know, Camp Benning for boys, and you're out there like 300 dudes in the gray sweatpants, and there's a big huge raised wooden platform in the middle, and this drill sergeant with his megaphone, right? He's yelling at everybody. We're all parade rest. He's like, all right, any of you assholes know what today is? And I'm like 40 people back. My buddy's like, don't Sean. I'm raising my hand. You asshole, what's today? Drill sergeant, today's election day, drill sergeant. He's like, that's goddamn right. How come none of you know that? Who the fuck voted today? One. He's screaming at everybody. He's like, why don't you tell the rest of these idiots how you voted today? Drill sergeant, absentee ballot, drill sergeant. I knew I'd be in basic training. He's like, that's goddamn right. You, back to the barracks. No PT for you. Everybody else, half left face. And everybody starts getting smoked. And I'm like stepping over bodies.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, lucky I didn't get a party that night, right? So, but
oh yeah, that's right where my mind went. I was like, oh, you're about to get the shit kicked out of you.
They were going to get smoked for PT anyway, dumbasses.
Yeah,
I was going in. I knew it. I was from Michigan, so I already did my absentee ballot, so I could vote.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from California, and no one taught us anything about like any of that stuff. I didn't. Well, that's probably because my dumbass didn't pay attention in high school. But it really, no one sat down and was like, "Hey, this is what you need to do." I had no idea, and you know, or else I would have. But I also probably didn't care either, because
I got a lot of it from my parents, and also too, I didn't join right out of high school. I actually joined out of college. I went to U of M.
Oh,
and joined out of college. So not a big deal. General studies, not a great thing. But so I did 5 years there. I ran the bases one more time. I lived a little bit longer, so I've seen a little bit more. And that's a campus that's very politicized. So not necessarily saying I took a side or not. It's that I got exposure to politics. I got exposure to world events. I got exposure to what was going on, and a lot of that was brought into the classroom. Some for good, some for bad. So that might be why too. I was a little bit more aware of what was going on in the world, because I was 23, right? I wasn't. So yeah, it's a little easier for me.
Yeah, because at that time when I just got into the police department, I had a lot more knowledge, and I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. And yeah, I was way more locked on, you know. So I was in the Marine Corps, and I went to Parris Island, where they make real Marines, and I was not a Hollywood Marine. So I was able to
the comment box are blowing up.
Yeah, I was able to scratch that off my bucket list. But my best friend went to the Army, and he went to Fort Benning. You know, and one of our kill hats, his brother was an Army infantry guy, and then he went on to do some other things, and I don't really remember. But Sergeant Stevens was our drill instructor's name, and Sergeant Stevens, his brother was in the military in the Army, and he would always talk positively about Fort Benning. And he goes, "You guys think you have it tough?" And he's like, "You do," but he's like, "But Fort Benning is another fucking beast." And so, can you talk a little bit about what it was like going through Fort Benning in the 90s? What was that like? How hardcore was that? Because I could only imagine, how nasty that was.
Yeah. I think they put steel in those drill sergeant hats because when they would hit you in the bridge of the nose with that when they're screaming at you, I think I still have like a permanent scar. I mean, it was it still wasn't the army of our parents and grandparents of the 60s and 70s, but it was still in the 90s. Still, I mean, we still rode the cattle cars everywhere. I mean, you'd still come back to the billets and everything is just destroyed. Your mattress is flipped over. Your sheets are hanging from the ceiling. Your wall locker's dumped. You're still outside walking it just for God knows how long to wear for no reason. And the one thing a lot of people and anybody who's been to basic training in Benning will remember is that Georgia clay. It gets in everything. And when it gets wet, it is slick as hell. You are just falling constantly and it gets everywhere. So you're just out in the field trying to dig up fighting positions in this wet, nasty clay getting screamed at. And again, too, remember, I was older. So there was a lot of times I was probably the one that got most push-ups for rolling his eyes. And I'd be like, really? You don't have to scream at me. Just tell me what you want me to do. I'll go do it, It's like, oh, I need you to run up that. Just tell me. Just say it. Why are you yelling at me? I get it. I get the reason. Like, same thing when I got into Rangers. I mean, I was older and we got yelled at. I was like, come on, use your words. Stop yelling. Come on. Jim, I heard the mouth on you. I'm like, yeah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, those covers, they were something else. I don't know what they were made of, but they were thick.
We had a Panama Ranger. We had a Panama Ranger in ours. God, I forgot his name. My buddy knows, but yeah, he was a Panama guy. Yeah, he's actually one of the guys. I did not come in the Army going to the Rangers. I came in going to the 101st, and then about 2/3 of the way through, that drill sergeant asked me if I wanted a Ranger contract. So I signed the paperwork. That
really?
Day. Yeah, and then they changed. So they changed my orders then to go to airborne school and then go to RIP, which now it's called RASP or something, but it used to be called Ranger Indoctrination or RIP. Yeah. So
I remember watching videos on that. Yeah. Because my best friend, he went to the 101st, and then I mean, he didn't go Rangers or anything like that. He thought about going SF because he worked with some of those dudes overseas, and he was like, dude, that shit's badass. But he ultimately ended up getting out and became a cop, and he's a current cop now. So were you just that good? I mean, or did
everybody was that terrible. Like I was in good shape physically. There were some guys that were just rough, and I'm just like, wow, nice guys, but you're just a train wreck.
Do you think? Do you think that your maturity kind of helped you get there because they're like, yeah, we need people like this?
Yeah, I think hold them. You hear people talk about Rangers, strong Rangers or smart Ranger. I was always considered a smart Ranger. Like I was not the guy, running sub 5 milers. No, I mean, I'd run a decent time. I can do the right number. I can still max my PT test, but I wasn't. Some of those guys were just. When I was a squad leader, I had 2 team leaders working for me. We would finish PT. I mean, like an hour and a half of grueling PT. And then they'd look at me and like, hey, what time do you eat us, Art? I'm like, I need you in about an hour. All right, good. We're going to go do some real PT because that was some weak ass shit. See you later. The only time I could beat these two, and they were both named Brian, so it was Brian and Brian, is every Thursday was pool day. And that's the one thing I grew up as a swimmer. So it's the only day that I could crush them. I'm literally getting them vomiting in the pool well. And I'm like, come on, man, let's go dive down for some more bricks. You want to play? I'll play with you. Yeah. You want to make fun of me because I can't climb the rope as many times as you can? All right. I don't think you can get across this pool as fast as I can. So that was my revenge on the Bryans.
Yeah, I hated the pool. I'm not gonna lie, I hated the pool, and we had to learn how to swim because of our job was amphibious. So we had to have a certain swim call, and if you didn't get that swim call, you were asked out. But and they wanted us to get better, and I got to a point where I was like, I can keep going, and I can go for Mick Wiss, which was like an instructor, and I was like, I'm good. I don't want to go anymore. I honestly, the Marine Corps and my job, my MOS, it ruined. I grew up with my best friend going surfing and doing all this cool stuff. And I fucking hate the beach now. I hate the beach with a passion because probably like you in that it was sand in boot camp. Then it was, let's go over to your school, and you go into your school and it's more sand because you're amphibious and you got to do beach landings and beach assaults and fucking all this other shit with the beach and the sand and fucking digging in the beach and doing all this dumb shit with the beach. I fucking hate the beach. I'm not gonna lie. And then you would have to sleep on the beach, and then you'd have to do all these field ops on the beach. And even when we got to the fleet, you got to do all this stuff on the beach. I hate the beach. I can't stand it. It is not relaxing for me. I see the sand and I'm just like, fuck this. I don't want to be anywhere near here. I touch the sand. I'm like, ugh, but then once I get in the water, I'm like, okay, this is cool. But swimming was definitely difficult. And, and there are certain things that I dislike now from the military, like in my regular daily life. What are some of the things that you dislike from the military because it just ruined it for you? That something maybe that you used to love?
Well, I don't know if I definitely ruined it for me and I used to love it, but I have a real problem flying in airplanes now. I get nervous as shit. And my wife will sit and she's like, you have been a paratrooper for 25 plus years. You have flown in thousands of aircraft. What is your problem? And I said, well, I don't have an exit. I'm not wearing a chute. I don't have an option anymore. I mean, we fly around half the time. That door is open. That pilot's like, yeah, if I give 6 short rings or whatever it is, we're going to tuck. Screw you. I'm out the back, buddy. That's your bad decision, not mine. I'm out. Right. Now I don't have that choice. I mean, we hit a little bit of turbulence. I'm looking around for an exit, and I'm, on a Delta flight, and I'm like, I don't have a chute. I can't pull that door. This could be a problem. I think it ruined it for me. And again, I've been in a couple crashes, been in a couple, little incidents, nothing serious, but enough that it's like, I just don't enjoy it. I mean, we go to Florida and I said, are we going to fly? I'm like, nope, we're driving. Said, well, statistically, you're more likely. Nope, I'm driving. I'm not getting in the air. I don't have to.
I feel you on that one. Yeah, I feel you on that. And I was never anything to do with airborne. I always wanted to get my jump wings, and I'm terrified of heights now. Like, you can't get me to go up anything tall. Like, I went to Vegas and I went up in the Eiffel Tower there, which is like half the size of the real Eiffel Tower. And I literally couldn't. I stepped out of that elevator. I was like, get me back in this elevator. Like, and I left. I was like, I couldn't do it. But if it was in the military, I would have jumped out of that plane, no problem, because I had control. And I think that's, you don't have the control. So you're like, dude, screw that.
Yeah.
So I feel it.
And well, so the second half of my career, I was actually free fall. And the one thing so that actually is a lot more fun than static line, but we were one of the only units. And when you go through the course, you have to pack your own chute. But then later on, when you graduate, most of them have riggers. For some reason, our riggers didn't pack our chutes. They packed our reserve. But I had to pack my main every time. And I'm like, I'm not a rigger. I'm not good at this. They come do checks. They're like, yeah, that looks like it's good enough. What? No. Is that I got my 10 lines and my 8 lines. Is that good? Or do I need to No. Yeah, it'll open. That didn't sound like it's going to, wait a minute, are you sure? No, I packed the reserve. You're good. Yeah. So again, I was lucky. I never had a malfunction. But a lot of that, though, you did still feel like you had at least some sort of control and it's not even necessary that I have control. It's that if something bad happened, I got no one to blame but myself, right? I did it. I made the bad decision, or I made the bad call, or I made the bad rig. It was on me. I didn't 100% try to pawn the blame off on somebody else. So I would say this is, I will never jump again. No, sorry, I take that back. I do jump. I didn't this year because of some ongoing medical issues, but I'll jump next year. I jump with the Rangers down in May, down in Florida, a static line jump, but I'll only do it because it's in the water, because I have a replacement left knee and I can't hit the ground with that at 22 miles an hour. That thing will snap. So, right. But yeah, no, the Army totally ruins jumping. They make it no fun whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of those videos and, that seems rough. I mean, I would have loved to do it. And my wife's like, well, if you would have done it then, why won't you do skydiving now? I'm like, fuck no. Like, you will not catch me in a plane. Guy, like, I'm sorry. No, like if it was in the military, and still to this day, if I didn't have any injuries and whatever, and I decided, got some wild hair up my ass, and I decided to go back in and try to make it and get jump wings, well, I would do it because it's in the commission of my job and my duties. And
exactly.
I can switch that flip. I can switch that switch in my brain where I don't think and I just do. And but when I don't have a mission to do anything and it's just for fun, like that's not fun to me, dude.
Dude, my sister is trying to get me every single month because she is like an extreme backpacker and hiker, and I do the Grand Canyon. I think she's going to Iceland next week to hike the glaciers. And she's like, why don't we? I'm like, stop. If you want to go car camping and we got some tunes and I got a tent and I got a cot and a mattress and we hang out up in the Shenandoah and we have a nice fire, cool. You want to go walking over God's green earth? Thanks. Uncle Sam already gave me those trips. They were called places like Afghanistan, Iraq, several places in Africa. I've been camping and hiking. It's delightful. I'm done. I know Fort Stewart like the back of my hand, camped all over that damn place. No, I don't need to carry my shit in the woods and go set up camp in a swamp. No. So drives are crazy. Drives are crazy. I'm like, no, I'm not hiking. No. Day hikes to go see something, but no, I either sleep in a hotel or I sleep in a nice tent. No.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. I'm good on getting lost in the woods or definitely going to a swamp. I'm good.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
So that's another thing I think
oh, for sure. For sure. What is some of the funniest times that you've had in the military with either with either Ranger or with the stuff that came on afterwards?
So I'll give you and you know this, and a lot of guys will relate to this. There is so much funny shit that happens. And actually, it's funny, when I was first starting writing books, I actually started writing it was called The Fourth Point of Contact. It was like the funny shit that happens in the military. Even during combat, funny stuff still does happen. And I think humor is the way a lot of us deal with the stress, right? Is humor. I mean, I think I discussed it last time I was on here. My first firefight ever, I was pinned down. I mean, I had a machine gun. I was behind a rock, and that rock was getting smaller and smaller. And I was the squad leader. I was the E6. One of my promotable E5s was at the vehicle. And I'm like, it was one of the damn Bryants, one of the fucking Bryants. I was like, you gonna put down some cover fire? He's like, nah, I want your job. Like, you asshole. He's like, I don't want to leave the platoon. There's no E6 positions. I'm like, Brian, start firing now. So there's a lot of little stories like that. I actually have a story in Cabal. It's fictionalized, but I'm sorry. That one was in Jones Point, is the one in Africa. That's actually a true story. Just two dudes waking up in the morning, getting their coffee, walking around in their gym shorts, walking out to the deck to go work out, and the sun's blazing, and all of a sudden the whole place erupts in fire because there was a coup overnight and they had no idea it happened. And there's like bullets flying everywhere. They're crawling. That happened. We're crawling back in the house. We're like, what? Trying not to spill my coffee. Like, what just happened? I just woke up. Why are you shooting at us? This is a peaceful country. Yeah. So things like that, you're like, this is awful. It's hilarious, but it's awful that this can happen.
I can only imagine. And a lot of the times we use humor to cope with whatever we're dealing with, especially when we're in pretty hairy situations, or we just saw our life flash before our eyes, and we just have to make fun of it because it's the only way to get through it. I
had an intel analyst, and he was living. He wasn't living with me, and all the shit went down with the whole country. I mean, mass chaos. I had an up armored, so I raced to his hotel at like 2 a.m. I'm busting through because the military turned. No one knew whose side. I had American flags in the window, but they didn't give a shit. So they're peppering me, but again, it was up armored. I drove up the steps to the hotel. I called them before, and he came down, jumped in, got out, blew through another gate. They couldn't catch me, so they lost interest. They were not a very sophisticated group of ragtag militia. Got back to the house, got him settled in. He's scared. Nice guy, but he's not used to this stuff. I get him a cocktail. I'm like, hey, I've got a movie drive. We're safe here. We're near the embassy. The guards are out front. I'm like, you can just chill, man. Chill here as long as you want. And I hit play, and I walked out of the room. I put on the movie Blood Diamond.
Oh, fuck.
I thought he was going to piss himself. I'd have had it like fast forwarded to that part where they all take the town when they're at the little outside bar.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. All I hear from the other room is, you are such an asshole. That was my. I got Will. Will see this and he'll remember that scene. Sure.
That's hilarious. I mean, it's you talk about like coups and getting shot out so casually. It just shows, it's just a testament to how many times you've been in the shit and you're just like, whatever, dude.
Well, it was an up armored car. I mean, as long as I didn't see somebody with, some RPG or something, and like they're shooting at me AK, I'm like, yeah, fuck off.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Back and hurt you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I get it.
He wanted to pop the windows and shoot back. And I was like, hey, think about it. I go, if it's bulletproof, what do you think happens if a bullet gets in here? Do you think it's going to just stop, or do you think it's going to start bouncing around in here?
Oh, yeah.
Until it finds one of our soft flesh. So no, you're not opening the window. Can't afford to have a round cover. Yeah.
Right. And you see that in Hollywood where, they're in up armor and then they roll down the windows and they're shooting back and they're like, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Use that vehicle, run them over.
Yeah.
It's the best weapon you got. I just ran them over. Like, nah, I'm not shooting that. Just run you over. I mean, right? I mean, again, I'm not endorsing blatant killing of people, but if someone's trying to kill you and they're standing on the ground and you've got a how many ton up armored vehicle, run them over.
Deadly force met with deadly force. I mean, you're asking for it. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I mean, you want to shoot at me, I'm just going to fucking hit you. Yeah, it is what it is.
That's actually the most effective technique, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Run over.
Wow. So that was some times in Africa.
Yeah.
What was some of your times in Afghanistan or Iraq? Because I'm assuming you were there for the start of all that shit.
I was there for the invasion, so I was part of the invasion force with the regiment at that time. Honestly, that was one of the most boring wars I think I'd ever been in.
Really?
A lot of people had a lot of action, but just the way we worked, we went up through Hadith the Dam, and then they put us on the road going north out of Tikrit to Syria. So we were supposed to block any of the Ba'ath Party leaders. The funny part with that was, so I was with a platoon. I was with 3rd Platoon, Charlie Company 175. And I was at that point, I was the weapons platoon sergeant. So I had like 18, the heavy guns. That's like the senior E6, but not quite E7, but still a platoon sergeant, but not treated like one. Doesn't matter. This guy did. So he split our forces. So he took one side and I took the other side. Since I was heavy guns, he came up and he's like, hey man, we got a loaner for a week. Can you take this? I was like, yeah, what do we got? And it comes rolling on the road, a tank. And I'm like, are you just giving me a tank? And he's like, yep, we got a tank. So work this into your battle plan. I was like, a tank? We're stopping like sedans. I've got 203s. I've got a couple Goose if we need it, but I'm really trying to keep it lower caliber. I don't think I need a tank, but I guess. So we set up the tank in the position, and I was like, I guess it looked intimidating. Nobody screwed with us. They come driving up, see us, and turn around. I was like, yep, got a tank.
So a tank platoon or just one tank?
No, just one tank. Just one single tank. I got a picture somewhere. I got a newspaper article of us. Someone came out and took a picture. We obviously couldn't show it at the time, but someone did later and published it in a newspaper. It was us all around this tank. Yeah, it was hilarious. I have no idea why we were given a tank. Again, I was too low on the totem pole. Staff Sergeant Haggerty didn't question. He just took his tank.
So did they give you a crew to operate the tank, or
there's people in it. Oh yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, you guys knew how to drive a tank?
Oh no. Oh God, no. They did that years ago. They let another story. I wasn't quite up at the front of it, so I can't tell this, except there was at least $1 million worth of damage. But this one came with a crew. And if anyone who knows tankers know, this crew almost never left the tank. They ate on the tank. They took a dump off the back of the tank. They never got down. Almost never touched the ground. They stayed in the tank 24/7. I thought it was crazy.
Tankers are weird guys. I always wanted to be tanks.
I talked to one later on, and he says because of the dirt. He's like, we don't want to be bringing dirt and crap back into the tank. It's so hard to keep that thing clean with all things going on. I was like, why don't you take your shoes off or your boots off, or have a tank pair of boots and get off the tank pair of boots? I mean, there's got to be a way to do it. It's just weird, man. So I understand it, but it's weird that tankers like almost never get out. It's like Tony Stark never getting out of the Iron Man suit. Come on, man, you got to get out now, man.
He's like, no, dude, I'm naked. I can't.
No, I'm saying, I'm vulnerable.
I mean, tanks are definitely 1 hour, I think, of operation. I think because I wanted to go to tanks, but I I didn't get the contract, and I ended up going amphibious assault vehicles, which they were like, it's a water tank. I was like, bitch, it ain't no water tank. Like, it's a water fucking thing that goes 7 miles an hour that has a 50 and a 40 millimeter on it. That's it. There's no cannon.
Yeah.
Like, there's no fucking cannon. And the shit they have now in my old unit, it's pretty badass. It's tracked. It's wheeled. Not tracked. It's wheeled. We have the tracked stuff, and it's wheeled, and it's faster, and it's got a cannon on it, and I think it's all automated too, so you can sit inside and look at a screen, which is pretty dope. But from what I remember doing all my training and then being like in 29 Palms at Camp Wilson on the same like ramp as tanks, and talking with some of those dudes, that like 1 hour of operation was like 8 hours or something, or 12 hours, or something crazy of maintenance. And it was different from us. 1 hour of operation was like 3 or 4 hours of maintenance. And then when you had to clean the vehicle, the sand getting in there, it was just a pain in the ass. So if we didn't have to get down out of our vehicle, we never would. We would sleep on top. We would sleep inside. Like, you just wouldn't do it because, and I can answer that question, like why they never got off. They didn't want to have any malfunctions or deal with anything, and they wanted to keep the maintenance time down for sure.
It's pretty bad when you're
shitting
off the front of the tank and you're shitting off the back, though. That is gross. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me otherwise. That's not a little bit disgusting. I'm like, guys, the slit trench is like 300 meters that way, not the back of your tank. No.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, I would have gotten out and taken the shit somewhere else. I mean, that's just me. Now, you talk about some stuff that other people would have been like, that was probably some of the scariest shit of my entire career. And you talk about it. I was like, yeah, whatever. I had an up armor. Now, was there ever a time that you were like, that was scary?
I was in a situation where I was with an indigenous group that I was working with another partner of mine, and our compound came under attack. And I was on the roof of the compound, and it was all sandbagged. And it was a large compound. We would train these forces. They were in the fight. We would pop up now and then. We'd see, a booger coming out through the rocks, would pop them or something. But I mean, they were fighting the fight. And I had my linguist up with me, and they had the loudspeakers. They had wired in, and they're saying stuff. And I'm like, Ali, what are they saying? He's like, I don't think we want to talk about what they're saying. I'm like, I want to know what they're saying. And he's like, they are pretty much saying that they are going to kill you and drag you behind their vehicles through the streets so everybody can see the white devils you are. I was like, oh, Jesus. So I'm talking to my buddy Mike. I'm like, all right, how are we doing? We're looking at the perimeters. We're kind of kicking their ass. So, I mean, they can kind of talk shit all they want. But it was still eerie just hearing that radio voice. And I've got command on the radio with me. And they're like, well, we're sending QRF. I'm like, hang on a minute. My boys are fighting and they're winning. I don't want to lose this momentum we're gaining and this confidence. I don't think we're being overrun. I think they actually messed up. And it turned out we were right. They attacked with a very overwhelming force, but our guys were just in the exact right positions, the exact right weapons, just mowed them down. And when we survived, and then they tried to pull us out the next morning. We're like, guys, you've got to leave us here. If we turn tail and run, this is going to look terrible. Now, so those next couple of days, obviously, we were a little bit pucker, fixing stuff in the walls, making sure everything's good. I mean, it was a pretty good firefight. But I think the scariest part actually then was later, about 4 or 5 months later, I was home. Because I was a team leader, and we rotated into this theater. Right. That house was blown up. A vehicle bomb got through the gate and slammed into the side of the house. Thankfully, none of our guys were killed who were there at the time. But you sit there and go, wow, we thought we were invulnerable. And little did I know that right out to my 12 o'clock, that front gate wasn't as secure as I thought it was. They learned last time that I only got certain munitions in certain towers. So they know the vehicle has to be able to take a certain number of 7.62 rounds or whatever they were shooting at. So they built up a vehicle and blew it through the gate and collapsed half the house. And where we were fighting from that roof, we would have been killed. So I say it was scary in the fact that, hindsight, you sit there and go, where I was vulnerable in the past where I thought I wasn't, that something could have happened.
Right. Excuse me. It's kind of like after the fact, something happens and you're like, and you have time to think about it. You're like, oh shit.
That was close. Yeah.
That was bad.
Wow.
That was close. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know how we got it. I had one other one. I was in another country that there was a coup, and there was Blood Diamond kind of situation, and the soldiers, their bandanas down to the t-shirts, no organization. They're just smashing on windows with their AKs. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm like, oh motherfucker! The guy next to me, they pulled him out. They shot him up. They killed him. They took his car and made a hole for me. So I slammed and slammed and slammed and got out. But they're all like, at the time, like I said, pointing their guns at me. And I'm like, you're an AK. Go ahead. Fire right here. Shit. You're going to eat that round. But that was kind of one of those, wow, I'm stuck. If they have something bigger, or they get, Sawzall or Jaws of Life, or they have something like that for vehicle entry, I'm screwed because I can't get anywhere. I can't get out of this hole I'm in. But
yeah, it's like you find that one soft spot. It's like why we never took our vehicles into Afghanistan, even though it would have been, a great help. But in certain portions of Afghanistan, when you have the rocky terrain and you're going up the rocky terrain, that exposes a giant, massive soft spot on your vehicle, which can just get pierced because it's fucking aluminum, and it'll just tear you to shreds. And if they were to, create a choke point on something that you were going up, and they just block it, you're fucked. And, it's yeah. Wow. I mean, that's pretty intense. I mean, I can only imagine what it's like.
Toyota. You go to all those, you go Toyota, you get yourself a Hilux, you armor that thing up. Yeah. That's the workhorse of those areas.
Dude, I'm telling you, seeing off-roading and like vehicles and things like that, and then seeing those Toyotas, even a stock Toyota, holy shit, the capabilities of that thing are bar none some of the best engineered capabilities you can get in a stock vehicle.
Oh, I'm from Detroit, man, and I run a 4Runner, and I'll never run anything but a Toyota for the rest of my life. People are like, how can you be such a traitor? They make a better product. They don't, raise the cost of vehicles because they make like $100 an hour to stamp a part. Sorry, loyalty went out when you sold me out. And did I tell you they make a better product? And I've been shotting that product overseas, and that vehicle still ran. So that's what I'm running.
100%. Yeah, I mean, how can you argue with that? I mean, and I remember you kind of saying something last time regarding Toyotas, and every time I see a Toyota or I see one, off-roading, and I'm like, damn, dude, I could kind of think back to that, and I'm like, fuck, maybe I should get a Toyota. Because I used to have one, and it was probably the most bulletproof vehicle I've ever had, and I beat the shit out of it, and it still held together. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I have a Chevy diesel now, but I mean, and I beat the shit out of that. But I still think about getting a Toyota to off-road it. I'm just like, damn, dude, I just don't know. But the more I think about it, I keep leaning towards Toyota. Now, as we get ready to close out, because we're kind of at our time, for new guys coming in, I mean, we're in the Hegseth military era where, patriotism is up and numbers are skyrocketing, or at least what we're being told. I mean, I don't know because I haven't checked myself, but numbers are skyrocketing. What are some of the something that you could, words of wisdom or advice that you could give the people getting ready to come into the military now, or have thoughts of joining the military? What is something that you could tell them for either career survival or just a tidbit that you learned over your vast years of service?
So I will say this. I tell this to everybody who's gone in, everybody who's served. You can do anything you want. I have absolutely no pity for people that say they can't do things. I came in, granted, I had a college education. I came in as an E4. I mean, right, I'm lowest of the low. Untabbed Ranger, untabbed E4. I was a private. And I rose to sergeant major in a SOCOM unit. All you got to do is hard work and perseverance. That's it. You don't have to be the 100% smartest. You do not have to be the fastest, the strongest. You have to persevere. That is what it's about. You have to want it. Now, and that's not to say you're going to make career. That's I tell a lot of people that go in, hey, where else can you go in and serve 6 years? They teach you a skill. You get 6 years of experience in that skill. Oh, by the way, they pay you at the same time. And then they put you in the civilian market already ahead of your peers.
Right.
So you don't have to be infantry. You don't have to be a pilot. You could be a welder. You could be a mechanic. You could be, do you know how well you could do in the outside? I really think the military should play up the trades. I really do, because I think the trades have fallen off.
Agreed.
The military is where they should play up the trades. And that is what this country needs. We need truck drivers. We need plumbers. We need welders. We need electricians. We need all of that. Why don't we build it up? And I hope that's what Pete's doing. I really do. Because again, the infantry is important. Your combat arms is important, but your your logistics, because that's what it all is. It's all logistics. Your logistics infrastructure is what you need. And I think young people today can go in there who complain they can't get a job. Well, don't go to school for an art French 13th century history degree. Got it. There's one job for that, and it's probably at the Louvre. You're probably not going to get it.
Right.
Do something practical, either STEM or trades. Period.
STEM's big right now. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But that's it. Don't stop with this and stop whining. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You chose poorly. Again, I'm a history guy. I chose history. It's not doing a thing for me. I did it because I enjoyed it. Could I be a teacher? Of course. There is some play to it. But if not, I did not go to electrician. I cannot fix my own car. I cannot, like you were talking about with the hot tub, I'm going to have a real hard time figuring this out. I can do it because I'll pull up manuals, but I didn't learn a trade. I learned how to use a bayonet, which is good in some ways. But, right. If this is zombie apocalypse, I'm your guy. But other than that, that's what I tell young kids today. And you can do anything you want. Do not think that you can. The military is there to actually set you up for success. They really are.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree to that. And a lot of you may get dissuaded, when you first get in because your gunnery sergeant or your staff sergeant's really fucking hard on you. They want to be hard on you. And I'm going to piggyback off what you said. You don't have to be the best at something. You don't have to be the brightest. You just got to be smart, and you got to keep going and persevere and keep pushing forward, because your leadership is looking at that. They're looking at the people that aren't the best at PT. They're not, the top of the top every single time. I mean, some might look at that, granted, if you're trying to get into certain units and things like that, but not always. They're looking for those who can think around it or who can put up with all the bullshit, because speaking from experience, and if I would have made a career out of it, I would have been really smart for me, and I probably should have. I'd still be in. I would have 2 years left for my 20. But I decided to get out. But my gunny was a fucking hard ass, and he was an asshole, big time asshole. My staff sergeants were assholes, big time assholes. But they were testing me, and they were seeing if I was going to be able to persevere, push through, improvise, adapt, and overcome that situation. And every single time I would. And when I was getting ready to get out, my gunny cornered me and said, "Hey, I want you to reenlist." And I was like, "Nah, dude, I'm gunny. All due respect, I'm getting out. I'm going to go do X, Y, and Z. I already have a plan." And he was like, "Look," he's like, "if that plan falls through, I'm giving you a reenlistment code. I want you." And this was at the time of everybody is getting out. We're not really reenlisting anybody. He goes, "No, I want you on my team. I want you to move forward." And if I would have stayed, he probably would have set me up for success, because this dude non-wrecked my ass, called me fat, called me a piece of shit. He really broke me down, and I was like, "Dude, I don't really want to work for you anymore." But I kept working for him, and it was weird. It's like your dad yelling at you. You still want to. You may be upset at him, but you still want to prove him wrong and to show him up and to show him what you're capable of. And that's what I did every single time. So if you have that mentality and you want to reenlist, I guarantee you they will notice that, and they will probably set you up for success down the road. And it would be something to pay attention to. If they're being hard on you, they're being hard on you for a reason. Keep pushing through, improvise, adapt, overcome, and push through that obstacle, because it'll only better you down the road in your life and career.
And this current military has gone back to the best athlete model finally.
100%.
So that right there should be very encouraging to anybody looking to join this best athlete model. You can persevere. You can move ahead. It ain't gonna be based on any other bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's such a great military to be in. I wish I could go in and re-enlist right now and be in Hexas military, because that's the type of military that I enlisted in. That's the type of military I wanted to stay in. Didn't work that way, and it is what it is. But so as we get ready to close out, we always give a chance for our guests to dedicate an episode to a fallen brother or sister. Do you have one? I didn't ask you at the beginning, but I was just curious if you did have one.
Actually, I do. I'm going to give you 3.
Yeah, sure.
We're going to go with the Rangers from Roberts Ridge in March of 2002. So it's Brad Crouse, Mark Anderson, and Matt Commons. They were the 3 Rangers that were lost in that battle.
Wow. Well, rest easy, brothers. We have it from here, and we will keep dedicating episodes till there is no more episodes to dedicate to. But unfortunately, that's probably never going to happen. And, it's sad, but we need to pay our respects to those who put their lives on the line and cash that blank check. And it is what it is. And they're heroes in our eyes and everyone else's eyes. So rest easy, brothers. We have it from here. Now you have a book, you have The Cabal. It's already out, and you can get it at any place where you can buy a book, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. You can get it at all those places. But if you want to reach Sean, you can go here. It is www.authorseanhaggerty.com. If you're watching, look on the screen, write it down. If not, it's www.authorseanhaggerty.com. That's AUTHORSEANHAGGERTY.com. Don't ask me to phonetically spell it. I will, but that's a lot to phonetically spell it. So, thank you so much, Sean, for coming on. I wish the best of your book. I can't wait to read it. It sounds awesome. Everything you got going on sounds good. I wish you the best of luck and what you have in all your endeavors moving forward. And I hope you get an awesome job at Home Depot or Lowe's. But thank you all today for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us on Instagram at war_stories_official and our Facebook at War Stories Podcast. If you're already following it, we really appreciate it if you would share a post, help spread the word. You can also check this out on the link in our bio on both platforms to find all of our social media, our media links, and website. Our podcast is available on all major streaming platforms, including YouTube. And on YouTube, make sure to hit that comment bell, like, notification, all that happy jazz stuff, that funky mumbo jumbo for YouTube. That way you will be notified every time we drop an episode or we go live for Locker Room. Locker Room is done every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or Thursdays, depending on what we have going on at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. Some weeks we may not have one just because of life and people have stuff going on like birthdays or, life, work, things like that. But if you have that notification bell, you'll be notified every single time we go live or an episode drops. Do you have a story to tell, or you know someone who does? We're always looking for law enforcement, veterans, corrections officers, dispatchers, firefighters, medics, ER docs, and ER nurses to feature on the show. If you're interested, please go to our LinkedIn page, linkedin.com/War Stories Podcast, and you can reach our producer Dylan there. Or you can go to booking.warstories@gmail.com, and I will forward all your stuff to Dylan. But it's not checked as often as LinkedIn. Dylan is on LinkedIn every single day. So if you don't have a LinkedIn, make a LinkedIn. It'll only benefit you. But please go to linkedin.com, War Stories, and go there. And if you don't want to go there and you don't want to go to our booking, you can go to message us on Instagram or Facebook and get a hold of us that way. You can also check us out on TikTok at www.tiktok.com at War Stories Locker Room. Thank you for the support and stay safe. And until our next episode, come home with your shield or on it.